The night sky blazed with a light that wasn't from the moon or the stars. It was the glow of a fire, fierce and furious, built by human pride and hatred. The crowd gathered in awe, whispering among themselves, "No one has ever seen a fire like this before." At its center stood a man, calm, fearless, and unshaken. His name was Ibrahim a.s., a prophet chosen by Allah. While the flames roared, his heart whispered only one name, Allah. This wasn't just a story of a man and a fire. It was a moment when the laws of nature bowed before the command of the Creator, a story that reminds us, when faith stands firm, even the fire can turn cool. Join us on Quranic History as we uncover more miracles, lessons, and moments that shaped our faith. Subscribe now and be part of the journey.
Long before our time, in a land ruled by arrogance and illusion, there lived a mighty king named Nimrod. His kingdom was vast, his palaces stretched across the deserts, and his pride reached beyond the clouds. He claimed power not only over people, but even over life and death itself. Among his people stood one young man who saw through the falsehood. His name was Ibrahim, a man whose heart was filled with light while others were lost in darkness. As people bowed before lifeless idols carved from stone and wood, Ibrahim asked a simple question that shook their beliefs. Why do you worship what cannot hear, cannot see, and cannot help you? The people stared at him in disbelief. No one had ever dared question their gods before, but Ibrahim spoke with truth and certainty. He told them about Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, who gives life and takes it away. His message spread through the city like a spark in dry grass, a spark that reached the ears of King Nimrod himself. The tyrant summoned Ibrahim and asked, "Who is this Lord you speak of?" Ibrahim replied with calm dignity, "My Lord is the one who gives life and causes death." Nimrod smirked and said, "I too give life and cause death." He pointed to a prisoner and ordered his execution, then spared another man's life. "See," he said, "I can do the same." But Ibrahim's faith was unshaken. He looked at the king and said, "Indeed, Allah brings the sun from the east, so bring it from the west if you are truthful." The court fell silent. The tyrant had no answer. His arrogance burned, but his power trembled before the truth. And from that day, Nimrod's hatred toward Ibrahim only grew stronger.
Days turned into weeks, and Prophet Ibrahim alayhi continued to call his people toward the worship of the one true God. But they refused to listen. Their hearts were chained by traditions and pride. Every festival, they would gather in their grand temple to celebrate their false gods, tall, silent statues decorated with gold and jewels. One day, the people left the city for a great feast. Ibrahim saw his chance. He entered the empty temple, its silence echoing with the emptiness of the idol's power. He looked upon them and said softly, "Do you not eat? Do you not speak?" Of course, they gave no reply. With the strength of conviction, Ibrahim alayhi took an axe and struck down the idols one by one, shattering their faces, breaking their limbs, until only the largest idol remained standing. Around its neck he hung the axe. When the people returned, their joy turned into horror. Their gods lay in pieces before them. "Who has done this to our gods?" they shouted. "He must be one of those who speaks against them." And so they brought Ibrahim before the furious crowd. The air trembled with anger as he stood alone against an entire nation. Calmly, he pointed toward the large idol that still stood and said, "Ask the big one if it can speak." The crowd fell silent. They looked at the idol, motionless and mute. The truth was clear, but arrogance blinded their hearts. They could not bear to admit that their gods were powerless. So instead of accepting the truth, they turned their rage upon Ibrahim alayhi. "Burn him," they cried. "Let our gods be avenged." And from that moment, a fire was ordered, a fire unlike any the world had ever seen.
The order spread across the kingdom. Build a fire so great that it will silence this man forever.
People came from far and wide, bringing wood, oil, and pitch. For days they stacked and burned, until the flames reached the sky like waves of anger. The heat was so fierce that even birds could not fly over it. They would fall, burned before reaching the center. This was not just a fire of wood, it was a fire of human hatred, pride, and disbelief. When the fire was ready, they brought Prophet Ibrahim as, his hands and feet bound in ropes, but even then, his face was calm. There was no fear in his eyes, for his heart was filled only with remembrance of Allah. The people couldn't come close to the fire because of its unbearable heat, so they built a catapult, a massive device to hurl him into the flames from a distance. The entire city gathered to watch, men, women, and children, all waiting to see this man who had defied their gods turned to ashes. As Ibrahim was placed on the catapult, the angel Jibril descended and asked, "O Ibrahim, do you wish for any help?" He replied with serenity, "From you, no. From Allah, yes. For He is sufficient for me and the best disposer of affairs." And with that, they released the catapult. Ibrahim soared through the air, falling toward the roaring sea of fire. The crowd cheered, certain that his end had come, but Allah had already given a command, one that would change the very nature of fire itself.
As Ibrahim alayhis salam fell toward the blazing inferno, the command of the Almighty pierced through the heavens. "O fire, be cool and safe for Ibrahim." And in an instant, everything changed. The flames that had devoured the air softened. The blazing heat vanished. The fire that had been built to destroy became a cradle of peace. The wood continued to burn, but the fire lost its power to harm. When Ibrahim alayhis salam landed, the ground beneath him turned to a garden, cool, green, and filled with peace. The fire danced gently around him, giving light but no pain. It was as if every spark had become a servant of Allah following His command. From a distance, the people watched in silence. Their victory cries died in their throats. The man they thought would perish now sat calmly amid the flames, untouched, unharmed, unafraid. Some covered their faces in disbelief. Others whispered, "This is not magic. This is the power of the Lord of Ibrahim." Even the tyrant Nimrod trembled, though his pride would not let him bow. The fire that was meant to prove his might had only revealed his weakness before Allah's will. Prophet Ibrahim alayhis salam emerged from the flames, his face radiant, his clothes untouched by even a trace of smoke. He looked at the crowd not with anger, but with compassion, for they had witnessed a miracle, and yet many still chose blindness over truth. The world had seen something no eye had ever seen before, a fire that burned everything except the one who trusted Allah completely.
When the fire finally dimmed and the smoke cleared, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam walked out, calm, unharmed, and surrounded by the silence of disbelief. The people who had once cheered for his death now stood frozen, unable to comprehend what their eyes had seen. The mighty King Nimrod clenched his fists in anger. His power, his idols, his pride, all had been humiliated by the one true God. But even after witnessing the miracle, his heart refused to surrender. He turned away, his arrogance intact, though deep inside, fear had entered his soul. Ibrahim alayhi salam stood tall before his people and declared once again, "You see, Allah is the one who protects whom He wills. None has power except Him." Some among the crowd began to whisper. The truth had reached their hearts, even if their lips could not speak it. They had seen fire obey a single command from Allah. What greater proof could there be? From that day, Ibrahim's name became a symbol of faith, a faith so strong that not even flames could shake it. He had faced an entire kingdom alone, yet he was never truly alone, for Allah was always with him. The tyrant's power began to fade, but Ibrahim's legacy only grew stronger. The man they had tried to burn became the light that guided generations toward Tawheed, the belief in one God. The miracle of the fire was not just a story of survival. It was the declaration of a truth that echoes through every age. When Allah is with you, no power on earth can harm you.